Today, we're going to be exposing why the 2 million Bitcoin paper attack is about to blow up in a spectacular short squeeze. We have been talking about this chart right here, showing that for the first time in Bitcoin's life, we are seeing a bull run where exchanges are being drained of the Bitcoin they own. And we've speculated, is Coinbase, is BlackRock, are these institutions trying to suppress the price of Bitcoin under a certain level so they can buy as much Bitcoin as they want? And now we've obviously been called crazy. We've been called tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. But now we have Wall Street insiders and OGs with 25 years experience in the space saying some pretty interesting things on national news that we are going to be listening to right now.
We always get a Bitcoin comment from you before we let you go. Normally it got stuck under 100. That's a pretty, it's a psychological level, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think some of this could be, there's a lot of folks who don't want Bitcoin over 100,000, and some of it may be the exchanges themselves are concerned because there is a pretty low supply of Bitcoin available over the counter. So you have a supply shortage, and if Bitcoin makes a move above 100,000, I think there'd be a big chase. So I'm still confident Bitcoin's going to close much higher before year end.
Before year end.
Okay, so Tom said two really interesting things there that I think need to be backed up with some data, because he just got asked about the price, 100K. And he was the one who brought up this chart right here about the OTC desks in Bitcoin running dry. And we can see very, very clearly the OTC desks are running dry of their Bitcoin right now. We can see way back in 2020, there was a whole lot more Bitcoin on these OTC desks than there is right now. They're down by 90%. The OTC balance is down by 90%. And I find it absolutely fascinating that this is the first 4-year period where we've seen consistent outflows of exchanges. So Bitcoin has been leaving the exchanges for 4 years in a row. We've never seen this before, okay? Again, I think this chart here summarizes everything we need to know. We can see the exchange balance only grew for 4 years. For 12 years between 2008 and 2020. That number only went up, signified by these, green boxes. Each Bitcoin 4-year epoch or 4-year period, we saw more and more coins get sent to the exchanges until that inflection point. That was 2020. Again, I've called 2020 the Big Bang, the monetary inflection point. That is the year that I believe everything changed, not just in Bitcoin, but also macroeconomics. This was the big inflection point for the fourth turn-in. This was the big inflection point where we entered the second stage of the 80-year long-term debt cycle, okay? This was a really big inflection point. And we can see very, very, very clearly it was also an inflection point for Bitcoin. I believe it marked the beginning of era number 2 in Bitcoin's life cycle, where the big money finally got interested in Bitcoin. And again, there's a ton of data backing that up. One of those is this chart right here, where we can see very clearly coins have been leaving the exchanges. And this is just unprecedented because typically every single bear market, we can see, well, most markets, we've seen coins were sent to the exchanges in 2015. After Bitcoin saw its price marked up in 2013 on the left-hand side of the chart, we can see coins were distributed and sold aggressively and sent to exchanges all throughout 2015. The same in 2018. After Bitcoin saw that massive markup in price in 2017, people were like, I'm going to lock in my profits. I'm going to sell a ton of Bitcoin. You can see the number of Bitcoin on exchanges in that big second red box goes absolutely parabolic in 2017 and 2018 because why? People wanted to sell their Bitcoin and buy a Lambo. They wanted to lock in profits. But why did we not see that in 2022 in that third red box I've got marked on the chart? Price of Bitcoin went from 10K to 60K. Why did we not see a lot of people lock in some profits, sell their Bitcoin, and take advantage of this higher price? I don't know. Even right now, Bitcoin's gone much higher than this chart I have right here is showing us. This chart only goes to 2023. We can see the supply suffocation certainly hasn't slowed down. If anything, the supply suffocation has even accelerated since this chart and since 2023. If anything, has gotten worse, and we still have not seen people lock in profits and sell their Bitcoin despite it being at $100,000 per coin. Here's a chart that I think signifies this pretty nicely. We can see this is an updated chart, prices at 100K, but have a look at the red on the bottom right-hand side of this chart. Coins are leaving the damn exchanges. I think we're seeing a supply suffocation brew. And I think as BTC Cypher 0 in the chat lays out, be prepared. We are about to see some big green monthly dildo candles. They are coming. It's going to happen. It's only a matter of when, not if. Okay, and that's all because of the underlying fundamentals that I want you guys to be paying attention to today. And now it's not just me, crazy Luke with a crazy haircut on the internet, talking about these fundamentals. We have Wall Street gurus with 25 years of experience also sounding the alarm on the supply suffocation that we're seeing. Okay, and again, Tom Lee, he's got a little bit of experience, so to say. He's got experience calling the big green candles, as Knoxville says in the chat. But he also has some experience nailing the price of Bitcoin, which is why we're paying such close attention to his comments on the mainstream news today. Okay, again, lots of people say bullish things on the mainstream news. I don't make a video on every bullish comment that XYZ asset manager makes unless I think there's an extra angle or unless I think there's a story to be told there. But Tom Lee has a very interesting story. This is a clip of him from way back in 2019. Have a look at the price chart of Bitcoin. Just look at it. I mean, at the time, Bitcoin was at 5K. It was down by 80%. And Tom Lee was out there saying, look, you need to put at least 1 to 2% of your portfolio into Bitcoin. At the time, they literally quoted him and said, that's crazy. You might as well throw it away on high fees to an investor. That's what the chick said. Who's employing this lady? Why does she still have a job? Why? That was a terrible take in 2019, and it's a terrible take today. And she's still on mainstream news. Why? I don't know. I'm not going to engage in speculation. I'm not going to engage in crazy conspiracy theories. I'm just going to say be very careful because the experts were wrong. And I just want you guys to put greater weight into the opinions of those who have been right. And again, we can see very clearly Tom Lee was right in 2019 when Bitcoin was at $5,000 a coin. And maybe, just maybe, he's right today about the exchanges engaging in a little bit of paper Bitcoin. We've made a lot of videos here on Coinbase, BlackRock, XYZ exchange. We've been warning about them for a long time. Okay? We don't think they should be trusted with your Bitcoin. Okay, we really don't think they should be trusted with your Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. The only person who should be trusted with your Bitcoin is you. Okay, but I think we have seen that the ETFs have gobbled up so much Bitcoin. I mean, have a look at it. It's absolutely undeniable how much Bitcoin they own. This tweet here was fascinating. I wanted to talk about it today because it says Bitcoin balances on exchanges have been dropping all year. Total exchange balance is down to 2.3 million, which is down by 116,000 coins in a month and down by 315,000 coins this year. So 116,000 coins have disappeared in 1 month. When you extrapolate the numbers out a little bit, that says we got no Bitcoin on exchanges in under 20 months. What's 20 months? Quick maths. It's a year and a half. 18 months is a year and a half, a year and 6 months. That'll be a year and 8 months. So around 2 years' time, if the trend of the past month continues, we got no Bitcoin on exchanges in 2 years. If that ain't bullish, I don't know what is, okay? Things are really accelerating here, and I'm really scared for people who have Bitcoin on the exchanges. I'm really scared for people who don't own Bitcoin because, as Knox Bill in the chat says, squeeze it, baby. I think a short squeeze is coming. I think fundamentals should always be the anchor of everything we should be paying attention to. Something we shouldn't be paying attention to is my terrible shirts. And look at this. We're going to call this toothpaste, okay? But, oh no, it's this corner. You guys know this is I've only got 2 blue shirts that I use for live streams, and both of them are destroyed. I might actually show you the other one. I can't. I've actually got a cleaner in the house right now with me while I'm making this live stream, believe it or not. I'd get him on camera, but he only speaks Spanish. Okay, so let's get back on track instead of Luke talking about toothpaste. Toothpaste stains on shirts. Let's talk about the supply suffocation that we're seeing, because again, the ETFs have gobbled up 1 million Bitcoin, and so have the public corporations. This was something we talked about yesterday. I'm not going to rehash it all, but we can see the public corporations right now squatting on 500,000 Bitcoin. That's 500,000 coins. And a lot of that buying has happened in the past year. And we have the ETF squatting on 1 million coins. And a lot of that buying has all happened this year. All of it has happened this year. The ETFs have been live for around 11 months, nearly to the day. So 1.5 million coins have been bought by the big boys publicly. When you combine that data with charts like these that just show coins are flying off exchanges, things are accelerating. Everybody's talking about supply shocks. Again, everybody can talk about a supply shock in the bull market when it's popular to do so and price is going up. But again, I've been talking about this. Again, this chart was made in 2022. That's why, it only goes to 2022. It wasn't popular to talk about supply shocks in the middle of a bear market, but we were doing it. I think it's the most misunderstood story in Bitcoin, the supply suffocation that's going on today. Again, just because coins are going down on exchanges today does not mean I think price is going to go up tomorrow or next week or next month. I've never made that correlation. What I have said is that when coins on exchanges reaches zero, we're going to find out the real price of Bitcoin, and I think it's going to be really spicy. That is, I believe, when we're going to see a God candle. When there's no Bitcoin on exchanges. Just following this trend and watching it just accelerate recently, it's really got me worried for the no-coiners. I'm not going to lie. The no-coiners should be scared. They should be buying Bitcoin. I think it's pretty clear what we're seeing here. This chart here is a banger, an absolute banger. We've seen that since 2023, coins on exchanges down by 600,000 Bitcoin. 600,000. Even since really BlackRock entered the game in the ETFs, kind of launched in the beginning of 2024, coins on exchanges, by this data set says that we've gone from 3.1 million to 2.63 million. So that's 500,000 coins gone off the exchanges. Again, there are lots of different data sets. Some say there's 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges. Some say there's 2.5 million Bitcoin on exchanges. It doesn't matter how you cut the cookie. Supply is dwindling, and you're going to want to buy some Bitcoin because, as we're about to show you guys in a moment here, things are escalating on the nation state front. Okay, things are really getting spicy here. And I think people need to be paying attention to what's happening. If you don't own some Bitcoin, please, for the love of God, just buy some Bitcoin today and take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Again, I always encourage you guys to check out what Caleb and Brown is doing. They are a Bitcoin brokerage that will hold your hand through the Bitcoin buying process. I think that is a much needed product in the space It's an underserved area in the space. I love all companies that, you know, help out new Bitcoiners and help them buy their Bitcoin in an easy way, in an easy to understand way. I get it. Bitcoin's complicated. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. Everybody understands Bitcoin's complicated, especially for new people. I've been asked by a lot of people for a service like this, and that's why I've partnered up with Caleb and Brown. I believe they're the best Bitcoin brokerage in the world. I mean, they've got 7 years experience, 30,000 clients. Track record speaks for itself. If you want to buy Bitcoin, check out Caleb and Brown. Everything you need to know about them is linked down below in the description and in the live chat over there. So definitely check them out. And then once you bought your Bitcoin, don't be one of those guys who leaves it on an exchange. Okay, again, exchanges are great. Brokerages are great for you guys to buy your Bitcoin at. But once you bought your Bitcoin, please, for the love of God, get it off an exchange. Put it in a hardware wallet. Tell you guys all the time, Bitcoin-only hardware wallets are preferable in this space. And again, once you've done that, make sure you jump on over and stamp your Bitcoin 12 and 24 word backup phrases into titanium. What is a Bitcoin 12 and 24 word backup phrase? Some people might be thinking, what the hell is that? Well, when you take your Bitcoin off the exchange, you take control of that Bitcoin. So when you have a hardware wallet, the only thing special about a hardware wallet is it keeps your Bitcoin 12 or 24 word backup phrase, your private key to your wallet, offline. You can pretend that the hardware wallet that you have, the little physical USB or little calculator or telephone looking thing that you have, is holding your Bitcoin private keys. You can think of it like that. That's an easy analogy, even though it's not 100% true. But I always encourage you guys, hey, if you lose that hardware wallet, if you forget the PIN code to that hardware wallet, or if you lose the hardware wallet in a flood, a fire, or a hurricane, you need a backup of that 12 or 24 word C phrase. And if you do have a backup, your Bitcoin lives forever. And they will live forever if you put that 12 or 24 word backup onto one of those. So these are, of course, the titanium plates that Stampseed makes. These things survive fire, they survive floods, they survive hurricanes. They survive being put at the bottom of the ocean for 12 months. Okay, these puppies are indestructible. That's why I always encourage you guys to check out what Stampseed is doing. I know a lot of you guys have checked them out, which is great. I sleep a little bit safer at night, knowing that a lot of you guys watching do have a better Bitcoin custody setup. Because as All Night Hider says, the musical chairs is running out. Okay, and the musical chairs, there are not many chairs in this little circle dance anymore. There's only 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges, and everybody's buying it. So again, do not be left caught naked holding your Bitcoin on an exchange when the exchanges run dry. Take self-custody. Take self-custody properly and back up your Bitcoin hardware wallets with titanium. Again, you can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with that promo code Luke15. Highly recommend you check it out. And again, front run the nation states. That's the opportunity we have right now. I actually saw a really interesting headline I'm going to bring up for you guys today because it is, I mean, nation state FOMO is accelerating. Now, again, I want to bring you guys the news as soon as it happens. So here's the news as soon as it happens. A video dropped an hour ago on Twitter, literally an hour ago. Russia's president, Vladimir Putin, who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody. I've got a whole nother video breaking down this specific interview from Putin in a little bit more detail coming up for you guys. But I just want you guys to be paying attention to what's happening right now. The world is talking about Bitcoin strategic reserves. Poland, Russia, we have states in the US, we have cities in Canada, Vancouver, a country that hates Bitcoin. The world is coming to the realization it needs a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's even being talked about on Chinese national news. All of this has happened in the past 2 weeks. China, America, Vancouver, Poland. The supply suffocation is accelerating. We are going to see a short squeeze. And I think I'm still shocked that we are right now seeing these ideas of short squeezes being talked about on the mainstream news. So with all that said, guys, pay very close attention to what is going on. Get your Bitcoin off an exchange. And with all that said, to the